Namaste students. So today we are going to begin with the third poem from Flamingo, that is Keeping Quiet by Pablo Neruda. Now who is this Pablo Neruda? Pablo Neruda is the pen name of Neftali Ricardo Reyes Basilto, who was born in Chile. Neruda's poems are full of easily understood images which make them no less beautiful. He won the Nobel Prize for Literature in the year 1971. If you see here, he was born on 12th July 1904 and he died on 23rd September 1973. So just 2 years before, he was awarded Nobel Prize for Literature in the year 1971. And one more thing I would like to add about him is he wrote his poems in green ink, which was his symbol for desire and hope. And if possible, try to read all his poems because they are really very beautiful. Here he uses lots of metaphor, he compares lots of things to bring home the moral values, or you can say to bring home the reality of life. So here is just in short about the main gist of the poem. In this poem, the poet has emphasized the need to introspect and bring in the spirit of brotherhood among the people of the world. He wants people to stop talking and stop all movements symbolizing agitation and restlessness till he counts 12. That is a short period of time. These moments of silence would be strange and exotic because in our mundane life we are working towards achieving selfish goals regardless of the other's requirements and emotions. Hence, this sudden silence would give us an opportunity to introspect. Since we would not speak for a while, barriers between communities would break and a sense of brotherhood would prevail. Man would get an opportunity to realize how he is destroying nature and how he is harming himself. Futile wars against man and nature would be arrested and a new feeling of unity would be experienced. The poet does not want his desire for inactivity to be misunderstood as a state of uselessness or inaction. He wants man to learn a lesson from the earth. The earth appears to be inactive, yet it is selflessly productive. Man could be productive and progressive without any aggression, selfishness, and the urge for destruction. So here is the beautiful poem by the poet Pablo Neruda. Let's begin. You can have your textbook in your hand, page number 95. In the first slide, I have just used the first stanza. Now we will count to 12 and we will all keep still. If you see, I have highlighted count to and keep still to emphasize the figure of speech used over here. It is nothing else but antithesis. I have used down. I have given information about antithesis. It is nothing else but a device where two opposite ideas are put together in a sentence to achieve a contrasting effect. If you see this line, now we will count to 12 and we will all keep still. At one time he is telling to count and the other time he is saying to keep still. These are the two contrasting ideas for better effect. And if you see, I have used lavender color, we will. It is alliteration as well as repetition. So what is alliteration and repetition? You all know it. Anyhow, we are going to revise it in the next slide. But I hope this figure of speech used here is clear to you. Now let's see the meaning of this particular line. Now we will count to 12 and we all keep still. Here he is saying that we will count the numbers till 12. 12 may be the months of the day, 12 may be the 12 hours, it's not clear to us, but he says let's count 12, and to count 12 it just takes 4 seconds. So he says we'll just count, and as soon as we finish the count, we will keep still. Let's go to the next stanza. For once on the face of the earth, let's not speak in any language. Let's stop for 1 second and not move our arms so much. If you see, I have used the lavender color in the first slide where we had we will, and in this particular slide again I have used once on, because I wanted you to highlight the figure of speech used over here, that is alliteration. What is alliteration? Alliteration is nothing else but occurrence of same letter or sound at the beginning of adjacent or closely related words. So now let's see the meaning of this particular stanza. For once on the face of the earth, in the sense the people who are staying on this earth, for once, let's not speak in any language. You may be a person from the western world, from the eastern world, or whichever country you are. Let's not speak for a while. Let's count first 12. Let's keep quiet. Let's not let's not read any, or let's not speak in any language. Let's stop for a second and not move our arms so much. Let's stop doing the work what we are doing. Move our arms in the sense the work done by our arms. Let's stop for a second. Let's stop. Let's count 12 and let's stop for some time. Why he wants us to stop? Let's see. It would be an exotic moment without a rush, without engines. We would all be together in a sudden strangeness. If you see, I've used blue color, without a rush, without engines. Since the repetition used over here, the figure of speech used here is, it is a repetition. It is a literary device which represents the same words or phrases a few times to make an idea clearer and more memorable. It would be an exotic moment without rush, without engines. And if you see next, I've used the purple lavender color again. We would, it's actually nothing else but alliteration, the sound of verb. We would, and the next line we have sudden strangeness. Sir sound is repeated. So let's see the meaning of this particular line. It would be an exotic moment. Exotic moment means unusual moment. When all of us, when we count 12, when we stop doing the work, what will happen? There won't be any rush. There won't be any sound of engines, and we all will be in only one stage, that is sudden strangeness. We all will be in a stage of calm and quiet atmosphere. You can say it will be a stage of meditation. So he says, let's stop all these things. Let's all be together in a most exotic moment without any rush, without any engines. We all the human beings on the earth, we will all be together in a sudden strangeness. Fishermen in the cold sea would not harm whales, and the man gathering salt would look at his hurt hands. Again, if you see here, he has used alliteration, his hurt hands. Now, the poet being from Chile, the part we can say which is surrounded by sea, he gives the example of a fisherman. Of course, he is not staying in a hilly area. He is not staying in a, you can say, a snowy area. He is staying along the, you can say, seashore, and he has seen, or he is giving the example of the person who is a fisherman or a man who is gathering salt. We all know that we get salt from the sea. So he is giving example of two people, that is fishermen in the cold sea, would not harm whales, because if the fishermen stop their work by counting 12, if they don't move their arms, the whales in the cold sea will not be harmed. At the same time, the man who gathers salt by his bare hands will get time to introspect, will get time to look at his hurt hands and to think over why is he doing all these things, for whom is he doing all these things. That is what he is saying, he is emphasizing in the next stanza. with no harm to anyone. If you stop doing, there won't be any harm to anyone. Even the fisherman in the cold sea would not harm the whales, and the man gathering the salt will have time to look at his hurt hands. Those who prepare green wars, wars with gas, wars with fire, victory with no survivors, would put on clean clothes and walk about with their brothers in the shade doing nothing. If you see a beautiful stanza explaining what will happen if we stop doing the things which are we normally doing it. So those who prepare green wars are nothing else but the war against nature. You can say deforestation, green wars with gas. Of course, the wars which where you used all those chemicals, all those gases to kill others, that wars will be stopped. Wars with fire also will be stopped. So those who prepare for green wars with gas, wars with fire, victory with no survivors. That is the reality, right, children? Victory with no survivors. In India, we have the best example of Kurukshetra, where lakhs of people died with only few survivors, and even if though there are survivors, even they were though they had won the war, they couldn't enjoy their life, because lifelong they will be regretting, they will be thinking of the people those who died. You also have a best your Kalinga war by Ashoka, which made him realize, yes, there is no use of this victory after war, because there are no survivors to enjoy the happy moment together. So this is a very touching line. It's a very, it's a fact, and it's a very serious line saying that victory with no survivors would put on clean clothes and walk about with their brothers in the shade doing nothing. Here if you see, here is saying that, okay, let's all do nothing, no harm to any mankind. Let's wear clean clothes in the sense that let there be no feeling of hatred, jealousy, or no anger towards other. Let's have a calm feeling, a quiet feeling. Let's not have any war with anyone. Let's wear clean clothes. Here if you say again, wars with clean clothes. It is alliteration, as well as if you say wars with is repetition. So walk about with their brothers in the shade doing nothing, right? We have this brotherly feeling that all the human beings on this earth are our brothers and sisters. Let have that feeling, and let all walk in the shade doing nothing. Here in the shade is metaphor used by the poet, just as shade protects us from hot sun, rain, in the same way we will protect and shelter each other as brothers. The feeling of being a brother is what he is comparing as being in a shade, doing nothing. Nothing in a sense, doing no harm to anyone. This is the lengthiest stanza used by the poet, which speaks a lot more about the thought which he wants to convey to the people of the world. What I want should not be confused with total inactivity. So whatever is saying that stop the work and sit for a while, you should not think that I am saying it for lifelong, or you should not stop doing anything. You should not stop the activity. Why? Because total inactivity is equal to death. Life is what it is about. I want no trunk with death. No trunk in the sense I don't want you to associate it with death. If we were not so single-minded about keeping our lives moving and for once could do nothing, perhaps a huge silence might interrupt this sadness of never understanding ourselves and of threatening ourselves with death. A very, very touching stanza we can say, because he is telling, when I am telling you to stop for a while and be in silence, that doesn't mean that you should connect it with total inactivity, because total inactivity is equal to death, and I don't want you to associate whatever I am saying with death. He just wants us for a while to stop doing anything, stop speaking any language, just keep quiet and do meditation in order to introspect. Why are we running behind the things what we are doing? Why are we harming others? What are we going to get? Why are we living on this earth? Why are we born on this earth? All such things, all such doubts you have, you will be getting it, and you will get answer to all these things when only you sit in a with a huge silence around you. You will get the answer for all the sadness, because no one in the world is really happy. Happiness is just for a while. What accompanies us throughout our life is the sadness of not understanding ourselves. If we don't understand ourselves, the intention of our birth, the intention of our life, then of course, throughout our life, we are sad. And throughout our life, we are scared of death also, threatening ourselves with death. And that is the reality we have already learned in the deep water lesson, that we are not exactly scared of death, but we are scared of how we are going to die, what will happen to us. That is what he says, that just for a while, sit quietly and introspect about your life, about your deeds on this earth. A beautiful stanza. The next stanza is too short. He says that perhaps the earth can teach us as when everything seems dead and later proves to be alive. He says we have lots of things to be seen from the earth, because earth, it was as it is before we are born, and it is going to be as it is after we die. So perhaps the earth can teach, though outwardly earth looks like a non-living thing. Earth is alive, was alive, and will be alive. So perhaps the earth can teach us as when everything seems dead and later proves to be alive. Last line he says, now I will count up to 12 and you keep quiet and I will go. Can say here he says that earth teaches us to be, how to live, because on this earth we have different species without harming others. Only if they want, only if they are in danger, they harm others, or in order to survive or in order to protect themselves, they hurt others. Otherwise, we see everyone on this earth, all the other species except man, are actually, you are staying in harmony. So, though outwardly earth seems to be dead, it seems to be a non living thing, but it sustains the life on it. There were dinosaurs, they became extinct. No, you have heard about million years back. What was it? It was the Stone Age man, and then Industrial Revolution, and these and that, all this. All these things are happening on this earth only, which is the proof that earth is not a non-living thing, it's a living thing, but it seems to be just dead, but it proves like it is alive, it will be alive after our death also. And the last stanza, it is very, very, like he wants to point out that now I will count up to 12 and you keep quiet and I will go. Why? Because he wants to pass on this message to next community, next people. So what he's saying that now I will count up to 12 and you start your meditation, you start your introspection, and I will continue my journey, because I want to lighten up, or I want to pass on this message to other communities or other people, so that even they do the same thing, so that we can bring peace on earth, we can bring harmony on earth, and we can introspect ourselves. Why are we alive? What is the intention of us to be alive on this earth? What is our duty towards the towards other species on the earth? And by doing this, we will stop unnecessarily things which we are doing now at present, running behind false happiness. Only if we introspect, we'll realize the real happiness, and we all will be able to live together, we'll be able to heal the world and make this world a heaven. So with this, we end with the poem. It's a short poem, but a very meaningful poem, which gives a lot of meaning to our, you can say aim. It gives mean intention to live on earth. So last slide, if you see, I have a beautiful saying, beautify your inner world with introspection, correction, and meditation. You introspect yourself, whatever wrong deeds you have done till now, just forgive it, forget it, and see to it that you don't repeat it again. That is called correction. And the last is meditation. You have to realize your oneness with the Almighty, with the intention why this Almighty has made this beautiful earth and why you are on this earth. We will realize only after this three things, that is what? Introspection, correction, and meditation. So, with this, we end with this beautiful poem, Keeping Quiet by Pablo Neruda. See you in the next class. Take care. Bye bye.